What's up, everybody? My name is Julie, and welcome back to another episode of the Busy Life Podcast. Today's episode is going to be kind of a continuation of last week's episode. Or I should say, it's been almost 2 weeks. That's because I was in Mexico, and that was the best trip of my life. And if I have time at the end of this podcast today, I will talk about how that trip was. But the purpose of today's episode is, like I said, it's going to kind of continue off of last week's, but it's going to focus more on how to be your biggest cheerleader for your partner. And what that means is basically how can you be a good partner? What does it mean in general to be a good partner? What do I think it means to be a good partner? And then what my fiance Ryan thinks it means to be a good partner. So today I have my first ever guest on my show, and it is the one, the only, Mr. Ryan Hobbs.
Hello, hello.
Woo!
I am honored to be the first guest on the Busy Life podcast.
Oh, of course, but it's an honor to have you. So anyway, like I said, we are going to talk about, don't look at mine, you look at your own. This is supposed to be, okay, I told Ryan that I wanted him to do a continuation of this podcast episode. This one's going to be more like part one, because the first one was how to be your biggest cheerleader. Like, what does it mean to hype yourself up? What does it mean to take care of yourself and to make sure that you feel supported? But now I want to expand that and talk about what it means with your partner. I want to have my sisters on. I want to have, maybe some friends, family members, all of that. So I figured we would start with Ryan. But what I said to him was that I wanted for me to make a list of what I thought was important. And then I wanted Ryan to make a list. And then I wanted us to share them for the first time to each other, but also on this podcast episode. Like, I guess the best way to explain it is just like without having shared it with one another. So I have my list and Ryan has his list. However, I had to tell Ryan my list because he wanted to make sure he didn't have the same list. So that ruined the purpose of this. But anyway.
Well, just to add in there, this is only the top 3 things that we think make a healthy relationship, just for purposes of time. But there are a lot more things that, go into a healthy relationship.
Oh, for sure.
These are our top 3.
Oh,
and I had to narrow mine down quite a bit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. So I had a lot. So.
Well, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So, Ryan.
All right.
Considering how busy life can be, considering all the craziness, the stress, the drama, the pressure, I would say, considering that we're engaged, we're pretty successful in this. And I think that I can speak for both of us when I say that no matter what happens, we both always try to make sure that we go to bed at the end of the day proud of the other person. And no matter what, we're always happy that we're with each other. So I'd say we're doing something right here.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing about going to bed on time is getting someone enough hours of sleep.
Okay, well, we're not talking about sleep tonight. We're talking about how to have a healthy relationship. And
yeah, but
what
that
does
helps
it mean?
The healthy relationship is when you have enough sleep.
Is that on your list?
No.
Okay, so let's just go through your list.
All right. So the first thing on my list was trust, which I think is the most important thing in any healthy relationship. And I think when a lot of people think about trust, they think about, trusting your partner to not sneak behind your back or do things without them knowing. And I think that's obviously important, but I think there's more to trust than just that. 2 big factors of trust to me are accountability and reliability. So with accountability, to me, that's, can I trust you to own up to your mistakes when you make them, to be honest and forthright with our differences, and to be able to, have a clear, mature conversation when someone fucks up, basically.
Do you
Um,
feel like you've had relationships in the past where that was something that, either wasn't withheld or it was something that you noticed was lacking and therefore it means a lot more to you now?
I think so, yeah, especially early on, when you're younger. There's a lack of maturity sometimes in relationships, and that can lead to a lack of accountability.
Mhm,
Um, and I think that can lead to resentment towards your partner, even if you don't notice it at first. It builds up over time.
mhm,
So just being able to recognize and own up to your faults or mistakes, because we all make them, and being able to say that you're sorry, um, and then making a conscious effort to not repeat those mistakes,
mhm.
I think is a big one, because some people think that just saying sorry is okay, but if you keep making the same mistake over and over, that's when it becomes a problem. So my next my next uh, factor in trust is reliability. So can I trust you to do what you're going to say and be somewhere that you say you're going to be? And that's being reliable. So I think reliability and accountability are both big factors in trust, which is, a big factor of a healthy relationship.
Would you say that we have that?
Well, we're getting married, so I think we got it pretty good.
Which, by the way, is in 2 months to the day tomorrow.
Hmm.
Ooh, my blood pressure just went up a little bit. Okay, so number 1 you said is trust, which
Trust,
includes
yes.
accountability and reliability.
Reliability.
Okay, number 2.
Number two is open, clear communication. And this is a big one for all aspects of life, but especially important in relationships, because it's not even just being honest, but it's about being um, very clear in what you need, what you want, and any issues you have, and being able to talk things out in a mature and, I want to say, um, effective manner.
Mhm.
Because if you can't have that clear line of communication, it'll cause further issues. Um, there'll be things that are unsaid that should have been said that lead to conflicts and um, you know things that could have been resolved quickly take longer. So
Is there a specific example that you're thinking of or a few in your past that you're referring to that really did make or break it for you because there was a lack of communication or maybe because there was really good communication and it made you feel really good?
well, I think what we have right now is there's a good uh, you know foundation of communication that we've been working on and building up since we started dating, and I think is something that you really try to um, you know foster and build upon and focus on with our relationship. And that, one example I can think of between us is um, when you have an issue with something I did and you don't like to let it rest until you've let me know exactly how much I screwed up.
Wait, like
But no,
what?
it's not a bad thing, and I've come to really appreciate it, because I don't like the sense of you know being in the dark, or just that feeling where something's off between you two, and it's honestly annoying when you don't have that communication,
Mhm.
because then you don't know what you did wrong, or you do know but you don't know how to fix it. And this open communication is just about sitting down and working out problems and then moving past it.
So not only communicating that there is a problem, but also communicating, well, what can I do to make it better? So you know, hey, so if it's me, I'm saying, hey, Ryan, I really don't like that you didn't clean the dishes because I'm thinking that's probably one of them that you're thinking about. I don't like
No.
that you left the dishes out. And, it really just bothers me that the
Yeah,
pan that we
I think
just
that's
got as
one.
a wedding gift is going to get all scratchy. Can you please rinse it next time, whatever? And instead of me
No,
just getting mad at you, you're like, well, from now on, I'm going to try to work on putting
I
the dishes
mean,
away.
that's that's more of the that's surface level is what you're talking about. I'm talking more about, um, say that you're just having a bad day and, you have a lot of anxiety about something and
Mm,
being able to let me know, or even if I have a bad day,
yeah,
and just being able to tell the person, like, you might need some space,
got
or
it.
you something bad happened at work, or at work, and you're just trying to work out your feelings, and you just need someone to listen to you, not try to solve the problem, but just listen to what you have to say, and someone to vent to.
Yeah.
Um, and that's, to me, a lot better than just being angry and not another person having no idea
Hmm.
if they did something wrong, or if there's a deeper issue that um, is at play there. So
Agree. I mean, because I think that when we both are saying, "Hey, I need this," it also gets rid of that little bit of, "Well, I don't know what to do. Like, is she mad at me? Is he mad at me? Like, what? Should I talk to them? Maybe I shouldn't talk to them tonight." And it's like, actually, no. Like, I'm just gonna tell you, you know what? I love you. I care about you. But right now, it's in a loving way. It's not about you. It's about my anxiety.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's also about, I think, having boundaries and respecting those boundaries is another aspect of a healthy relationship that could tie into that too.
Nice.
And then my last uh, aspect of a healthy relationship was gratitude.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah. So,
Man, I wish I thought of that
well,
one.
I thought it was appropriate because, especially in a podcast about being so busy all the time, I think gratitude can kind of go by the wayside. We get so busy with our lives that we don't stop to really appreciate um, and thank the ones that we love,
Mm,
and do little things to show them that we appreciate them and show that gratitude. And I think that can go a long way, um, like in making someone's day better if they had a bad day, or just showing that you recognize and appreciate the things that they do for you, and it's not something that um, they ignore or is looked over, or looked past. So yeah, I think gratitude is a big one, and I think it's important to stay appreciative and show that you care and that you really admire and appreciate the things that they do for you.
Can I just say for everybody listening right now, Ryan does a very good job, and I hope I do too, but Ryan does a very good job of expressing gratitude because when I'm having a bad day, what are you laughing at? When I have a
No,
bad day,
it's
he will always come up and give me a hug and he'll be like, I love you. Or sometimes okay, I have to tell this story. I don't remember where I was, but I was in home and we have a Ring doorbell. And I got home and I saw flowers that had the cutest card. It had like a puppy on it. I think I was just with my family or something. And or no, was I trying on my dress? I don't remember. Anyway, that part is relevant. But I came home and there were these beautiful flowers. And I thought that I saw them in the Ring doorbell because I was like, is Ryan holding flowers? Because every time I get it, I just look to see, like, oh, is it Ryan? Is it a package? Is it, I don't know, who is it? And I was like, Ryan's holding flowers. And then I was like, no, no, I'm just, because I didn't open up the whole app to see what it was. I just opened up like the notification. So it was just like a small screen. I was like, no, it's not flowers. That's probably like something else. Then I got home and I was like, oh my God, it was flowers. And my favorite flower story is when it was the beginning of our relationship, actually. Ryan sent me flowers. Was it for Valentine's Day?
Nope, it was a random day.
No, see, gratitude. Ryan sent me flowers to work. And I was sick the day that he sent the flowers.
Oh, yes, I remember this well.
So my secretary texted me. She's like, "Julie, someone sent you roses." And I was like, "Oh my God." And Ryan was like, "Are you sure you're not going to work today?"
Yeah, that was the issue. I thought you weren't even gonna get them.
No, they just sat on my secretary's desk. And then when everybody was like, "Oh my God, Miss Aguilar, who are those from?" She's like, "No, nobody. Those are for Miss Nicholas." Okay, so let's recap. Number one is trust.
Trust, open, clear communication, and gratitude.
Trust, open, clear communication, and gratitude. I like that.
Many more, but that's what I came up with in a narrowed down list
Okay. I mean, I
for
think those are,
purposes of time.
I also think that those are three very important things. So good job. Okay, here are mine. My first one is honesty and communication. Don't you be looking at my screen. You're going to listen to this like everybody else. My first one is honesty and communication. And that goes with Ryan's, but with the whole sense of trust and open communication, because I think communication and honesty go hand in hand. You have to be honest about the things you're communicating. And when you're communicating, it needs to come from an honest place. So if I have a problem, like I said, everybody on here knows that I have anxiety. If I'm just having one of those days where it does not matter how many flowers Ryan could give me, how many hugs, how many whatever it is, sometimes I just need to go for a walk, or I just need to go upstairs and I just need to shut the door, and it has absolutely nothing to do with anybody. So in that moment, I have to communicate to Ryan, "Hey, it's not you, right?" It's me, it's not you. But no, it's
Mhm.
actually though, like, I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to need about 30 minutes. I just got to clear my head. I'm not in a good spot and I'll be right back. Because otherwise, me just slamming the door and leaving the house is going to make him worried. It's going to make him nervous. He's going to want to follow me, not in a creepy way, but he's going to be like, "Julie, what's wrong? Talk to me." And then if I ignore his calls, it's going to make it so much worse. Now, granted, I will say that comes with a whole other level of being able to advocate for yourself. But I think you need to do that work first before you can have a healthy relationship with a partner. But being honest about the things that they do and how that makes you feel, and the things that you're doing or going through and what you're feeling, because you are allowed to feel all of the emotions. You are a human. We are all human. And sometimes I can have a really good day and then come home and it just be shit. Like last night, we went to dinner and I was talking about the wedding and just stuff about the wedding. And all of a sudden, it was like the entire world was just breaking. And it was the tiniest of trigger, which was just the wedding, and the stress of the wedding and what's been going on. And I had to just tell him, like, "I'm just not feeling like myself tonight." And it had absolutely nothing to do with Brian. It was just in that moment, the anxiety, the depression, it just kind of like sat in. But if I didn't do, or if I didn't take that step to tell Ryan, "Hey, it's not you right now. Like, I'm having a moment and I need a moment," then that's on me. So I think having that honest, open communication about both of you is really that like strong, invisible bond that keeps you two together. And that's why I put that as my first one. So honesty and communication. The second one I said is celebrate your partner's wins. I really feel like
Mhm.
if you want your partner to celebrate you and to love you and to take care of you and to do all these things for you, you have to do the same for them. I've had so many friends tell me in the past, like, "Oh, he doesn't do this for me and he doesn't do that for me, or she doesn't do this, or she doesn't do that, or they don't do this." But what are you doing for them? I always say on this podcast, like, what are you going to do about it? And I really mean it though, because if I want Ryan to love me and to take care of me and to buy me flowers and to give me a hug when I'm sad, I'm going to try to do the same for him. Now, this goes into a whole other topic of like love languages and stuff like that. But so I guess when I say celebrate your partner, celebrate them in a way that makes them feel celebrated. Don't just like if Ryan doesn't want flowers, guys. So I'm not gonna buy Ryan flowers.
Well, you never asked.
That is not true. I actually did ask you. Because I remember one time he did something and I was like, oh, it was Valentine's Day. And I was like, what do you want for Valentine's Day? He was like, I honestly just want some chocolate. I said, oh, you don't want roses? And he goes, no, thanks. But maybe I just asked you about the wrong kind of flowers. That was my bad. That wasn't very open with my
No,
communication.
you weren't. No, you weren't.
But no, if Ryan wants to be celebrated in a certain way, then I need to take the time to celebrate him that way. I know, for example, I know that Ryan really likes it when Ryan loves Oreos. So he loves it when I like surprise him with some Oreos or like for Valentine's Day specifically. This is the example that's coming to my mind. Instead of getting him a bunch of heart shaped chocolate, I got him a heart shaped box of Oreos. And it's like like the little things that make that person realize that you were thought of and you specifically were thought of in that moment because then that makes them feel special, which makes them more inclined to want to do that for you.
Yeah, the personalized gifts, knowing what they like specifically and getting them that instead of just a standard, like if you got them a standard box of chocolates for and like, any you could get that for anyone, but knowing what someone likes and thinking of that when you get them the gift or do anything for them is important, I think.
And not even just gifts, like acts of kindness and acts
Right.
of love.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be something that I spent money on. Like, for example, I know that I'm thinking specifically of a time when we were at Ryan's apartment years ago. God, I feel so weird to say that. But we were at Ryan's apartment years ago. And I woke up early and he was sleeping and I just let him sleep in, which roles have now reversed. Now I sleep in and he wakes up early. Back in the day, I woke up before him. And so even just the smallest act of making him a cup of coffee before he woke up in the morning. I actually went to do that this morning, but somebody forgot to buy some more coffee. So and then our coffee pot had mold in it. So that maybe we just weren't meant to make the coffee this morning. But the little things, make them a cup of coffee. When you're out getting them a gift, don't just get them something like for his birthday. I'm not just going to get him a shirt because I like this shirt. I'm going to genuinely put thought into it, or I'm going to think of something that I know is going to make Ryan feel good. Like, how can the whole moral of this part is just how can I make Ryan feel loved and celebrated? So that's my second one. Celebrate your partner and celebrate their wins. And then my third one is making sure to take time for each other as often as you can. And I'm not going to say every day, every week, every month, because I think that's really individual and it just kind of depends on what's going to work for you and your partner. But I know for us, we try to go for like our weekly walks, just either once, twice a week. Ryan and I have turned into a yaya na papu. For those of you who don't know, that means grandma and grandpa in Greek. And we go for our nighttime walks. And I know that's not just something that old people do. That's just kind of like our joke. And my sisters, who are probably going to listen to this, love to make that joke about us. Like, oh my God, you guys have turned into old people. You have your dinner so early and then you go for your walk and all that. But you know what? I'm living for this lifestyle. That's like those memes that are like, when I was younger, all I wanted to do was stay up past 9. And now that I'm older, all I want to do is go to bed before 9. that we are very much adapting into that life. But our walks our walks really do mean a lot to us because that's just our time. We don't even bring our dogs because sometimes that's more distracting. Like our dogs are really strong. So we have to focus on in our dog walk, making sure that they're walking near us. Tucker's not eating the geese poop around our lake. Like it's too distracting and it's really not an opportunity for the two of us to be present with each other. So we will walk the dogs first, put them away, and then we go outside and sometimes we don't bring our phones or we just put our phone on silent and we bring it with us. And that is just Ryan Julie time. And even like last night, we realized we hadn't gone on a date in a while. And instead of just being like, oh, that kind of sucks, we were like, no, like we're gonna go on a date. So we dressed up, we walked to our favorite restaurant, and we had our own little date. So I think no matter how busy you are, because like I've talked about on this podcast a lot, there was a time in my life where I had no free time. And I'm so thankful that through all of it, Ryan has been able to stick with me through it, because those were really tough times. And I probably wasn't giving him the attention that he deserved and the time that he deserved. But I can't look at him right now. But it was a really tough time, and that's not an excuse. But when I got more time, and it's not even that I got more time, I made the time available for myself. If you have any questions about that, go listen to some of my older episodes. I talked about how crazy that time frame was in my life. I was working multiple jobs and in grad school. I mean, it was just way too stressful. But the whole point of it was we really didn't have a lot of time. And when we did, I was too tired. And whether I showed it or not, I was. But I think what made it work was that I did try at the end of the day to give him that time, but it probably wasn't as adequate or as much as I try to do now. So.
Well, this reminds me of going back to my communication part of the healthy relationships, is that I think it takes a lot of compromise too when getting through a relationship and maintaining strong, healthy boundaries. And that means whatever free time you might have, whether it's a lot or a little, being able to make the free time, but also have time to yourself, and compromise with each other on what time you'll spend with each other, what time that you have that needs to be devoted to personal things, and just, keeping up with that open communication.
I saw a quote today that said, certain people in your life will give you some of their free time, and then other people will free up time for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just like this. Like, if you really want a relationship to work, both of you have to do all of these things, like all three of the things Ryan said, the three things I said, and you both have to be willing to make the time for it. Everybody has a job, everybody has something that they're working on. Either you're in school, like I said, you either have a job, you're in school, you're a mom, you're a dad, you're an aunt, you're caring for a bunch of pets, you're caring for an older aging parent, whatever it is you're doing, everybody has something. Nobody is just sitting on their couch being like, you know what, I'm bored and I have absolutely nothing to do today. And if you are, then
you're lucky.
Yeah, we need to talk. But the point is, when something comes into your life and it really means a lot to you, you make the time for it. And that's the same thing that goes for a relationship. And that's also a big red flag, guys. So if you're with somebody who is not willing to do these steps with you, then I would say it's not the relationship for you. And it's probably time for you then to cut the cord, because these are very important things. And I genuinely do believe, after listening to what Ryan said, after expressing the things that I've been thinking, I think that we came up with a pretty solid list that genuinely do form a relationship.
Yeah. No, I think this has been great. I've learned a little bit more about you.
No
I
way.
didn't think I could learn any more.
Holy shit.
But yeah, so this has been really good.
Yay. Well, I think we're going to stop it there. But first of all, massive thank you to Ryan for coming on the podcast. He'll be back. Don't worry, guys. And I hope you guys have a great day. Remember that relationships take work, friendships, loving relationships, no matter what it is, family relationships. But when you put in the time, you put in the effort, you're open, you're honest, you express gratitude, you do all the things that Ryan and I said, and I'll list them in the description, they make it worthwhile. And if you're not receiving the same thing back, then you need to be open and honest about it and discuss it with that person because in the end, it is a two-way street. So we love you. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day or a great rest of your night, depending on what time you're listening to this. And I just want to say thank you.